Hello. Today I'll be talking about toxic relationship, and specifically I'll be looking at six signs that shows that you are in a toxic relationship. This topic is very passionate to me because a lot of people are into toxic relationship and they are not even aware that they are into a toxic relationship. A lot of people are into toxic relationship. They know, but they don't know how to get out of such toxic relationship. So after identifying the signs of a toxic relationship, the next topic I'll be looking at is how to get out of a toxic relationship. The last thing I want for you is to end up in a relationship that is toxic. The highest victim in a toxic relationship are ladies. I'm not saying that men don't also have a toxic relationship, they don't experience toxic relationship, but men actually sometimes find a way to wriggle themselves out of a toxic relationship, why women most times stay with the stigma even after they are out of such toxic relationship. Okay, so many times people are in a toxic relationship, they will say that they didn't see it coming. Yes, you may say you don't see it coming, but the truth is that there are many signs. You probably have seen the red flag signals. It's just that probably you ignore those red flag signals. Okay, once again, my name is Oluwole Fadogun. I'm your relationship and life coach. Okay, so and we'll be looking at this topic together, and my hope, my belief is that at the end of this video, you'll be able to deal with toxic relationship, identify toxic relationship, and in the next video, you'll be able to deal with toxic relationship. Okay, so toxic relationship are not what one prayed for. It's not what anybody prays for, but people end up finding themselves in such a toxic relationship. A lot of people have gone through it and they have experienced a lot of emotional, physical, and mental abuse, which I will not want anybody that is close to me or anybody that I know to experience. So, what are the signs of a toxic relationship? What are those signs of a toxic relationship? The earliest sign of a toxic relationship is hostile communication. That is one thing you probably see as a sign, the immediate first sign of a hostile communication. You are not talking, you are always yelling at each other, you are always quarreling, you are always shouting at each other. So if both of you cannot sit down to talk and have a healthy conversation, then it's most likely that you are having or you are experiencing a toxic relationship, because in relationship, communication is very key, and because it's one of the factors that drive a healthy relationship. And when you are in a relationship and you cannot talk, you cannot have a healthy conversation, your conversations always end in quarrel, always ends with yelling at each other, always end with one issues or the other, then it's most likely that you are experiencing a toxic relationship, and it will be advisable that you have a second look at that relationship. If you cannot sit down to talk about it, then it's better that you find your way out of that relationship. So that takes me to the next sign of a toxic relationship. You experience there will be a case of abusive language. You may see name calling is one element that is very common with a toxic relationship. Abusive language, I can't just imagine when a man or a woman will look at the woman that, or the lady that she's going out with, or that she's married to, or that she's dating, and call them unprintable names. Is a sign of a toxic relationship. If a man speaks to you disrespectfully today, there's every tendency or there's every possibility that he will not change tomorrow if you don't nip it in the bud. If he speaks to you disrespectfully today, if you don't check it, he will continue to disrespect you with his word, and as a matter of fact, he will even aggravate it. Okay, disrespectful or abusive language is a sign that the man does not respect you. So yeah, sometimes somebody may tell me that okay, he's not talking abusively to me, he's just saying it to one of his staff, saying it to one of his junior staff or one of his colleagues. Let me tell you, if you don't nip it in the bud, if it's disrespectful to people, if he uses abusive language on people, there's every tendency that one day he's going to turn on you. He's going to turn his attention on you and use the abusive language on you too. Okay, so Then one thing I want to sound as a note of caution is that when someone uses an abusive language on you, don't make the mistake of using same abusive language on them, because when you do that, you lose your credibility to correct them, to also check them, because immediately you do that, they develop a kind of defense around themselves, and they tell you that, okay, I abused you and you abused me back, so equation balance. So in order for you to be on a safer pedestal, to be able to check, to be able to correct somebody who is fond of using abusive language or who is fond of name calling, the best thing you need to do is that don't go the same route with them, don't walk the same path with them, and don't rub yourself in the mud like them. So once you observe, nip it in the bud, correct it, and if they tend not to change, then there's every possibility that the relationship is toxic and you may need to get out of that relationship. Yes, I know there are times that some people, maybe because of their upbringing, they grew up in an environment that abusive language is one of the ways of communicating. But if it's somebody who truly loves you and who truly respects you, once you call their attention to it, that this thing is not good, they will look for a way to correct that misnomer. Okay, that takes me to the next point. How do you know that you're in a toxic relationship? Another sign of a toxic relationship is hot temper. When you discover that your partner is always getting angry. This does not matter what may be the cause of his anger. And another thing I need to call your attention to is that it doesn't matter who he is getting angry against. If he's so hot-tempered to his friends, to his relation, to his siblings, to his colleagues, if he cannot control his temper, a day is coming that he will divert that same hot temper to you. So in a relationship, you as the man or the woman, you should be able to control your emotions. You should be able to control the way you feel. You should be able to control the way you react. So you must not be hot-tempered. Yeah, you can get angry. Nobody's saying that anger is an emotion, but it shouldn't get to the point whereby you get so hot-tempered to the point that you are destroying things. You are saying all manner of terrible words are coming out of your mouth, and you are getting angry to the point that you lose control of your personality. So hot temper is a very terrible sign of a toxic relationship that you need to really look out and watch out for, because most times people who are hot-tempered tend to get physical, and if care is not taken, it may lead to something that you never pray for, because we've seen cases of people who are hot-tempered, they kill their partner. We've seen cases of people who are hot-tempered, they injure their partner. Okay, so that takes me to the next one. How do you know that you are in a toxic relationship? Another point is that you will find out that the relationship is a one-sided relationship. When I say one-sided relationship, what do I really mean by one-sided relationship? You will find out that you are the only one that is investing into that relationship. If you find out that in a relationship you are the only one that is doing the giving, you are the only one that is doing the loving, you are the only one that is doing the showering of the gift, you are the only one that is traveling to check, you are the only one that is making calls, you are the only one that is sending message, then there's every tendency that you and the other party rather is not making effort. I need to sound that, and the other partner is not making effort, then there's every tendency that you are in a toxic relationship. Okay, it's likely that you're in a toxic relationship. Okay, if your relationship consistently revolves around what makes your partner happy and ignores your own personal need, then it's a sign of toxicity in the relationship. Okay, so what are those signs that you are in a one-sided relationship? When you find that you are always the one that is making, you are the only one that is doing the first call, you're the only one that is doing the first texting, the first messages. When you experience long gap between the time when you send message and between when the reply is sent back, you're most likely in a toxic relationship. When conversations are choppy, in the sense that when conversations are just short abbreviations, they are not in depth, then there's tendency that you're in a one-sided relationship. If you find yourself always asking your partner to change over and over and over and over again, then it's most likely that you are in a toxic relationship. Okay, the next sign of a toxic relationship is that you have this when you have a partner who have a controlling behavior, when he begins to look for a way to cut you off from your friends, when he begins to look for a way to cut you off from your family with the pretense that they are not good, or they are under just more flimsy excuses, they just look for a way to cut you off. Watch it. That person has a controlling behavior, and that relationship may be a toxic one. For the fact that you're in a relationship with someone does not mean that you will lose your friends, does not mean that you will lose your relation. So when you're in a relationship with somebody, whether marriage relationship or you are dating, you're about to get married, and the person is cutting you off from your friends, cutting you off from your family, cutting you off from your loved ones, then it's most likely you are in a toxic relationship. Okay, if they begin to bug you with calls, monitoring your movement with calls in the name of checking on you, then it's most likely that you're in a toxic relationship. If they're asking to see your call logs, they are spying on your messages, spying on your SMS, spying on your chat, then there's tendency that you are in a toxic relationship. When they need to know everything about you, not because they care about you, but they just want to know everything about you, and they want to know who you are with, they want to know who you are going out with, they want to know what you are doing per time. It's not because they care, they just want to be sure that they have a knowledge of everything about you. It's not because of their love, but they just want to be controlling. So another sign of a controlling behavior in a relationship is when you discover somebody who is always threatening you with a divorce, or is always threatening that is going to go out of the relationship. That relationship is most likely a toxic one. So because when you're in a relationship, definitely there will be disagreement, there will be misunderstanding. For the fact that there are misunderstandings should not mean that you will threaten me with a divorce, or you threaten me that you're going to get out of the relationship. Okay, so you threatening with divorce or threatening to get out of the relationship is a sign of a toxic relationship. Okay, then another sign of a controlling behavior in the relationship that you need to also look out for is that when the person is trying to manage your money, trying to manage your time, trying to manage who you relate with, trying to seclude you, like I said, from loved ones, is also a sign of a toxic relationship. Okay, then the last one here for me, which is not the least, is that when you're in a relationship and suddenly you are feeling entrapped. Relationship is something that you should enjoy. Relationship is something that you should be happy about. But when you're in a relationship and you begin to feel as if you are in bondage, then it's most likely you are in a toxic relationship. Okay, I believe that I've been able to share with you. You've been able to discover those signs to look out for in a toxic relationship. Okay, my prayer to you is that you will not experience one, and if you are experiencing one today, it's not the end of life. You can definitely deal with a toxic relationship. Can a toxic relationship be worked on? Can a toxic relationship be dealt with? Can a toxic relationship be corrected? Yes, it's possible it's corrected, but it's also possible it may not be corrected. So what will you do when you are into a toxic relationship? That you will find out in my next video. Once again, I want to appreciate every one of you that have been taking time to watch my video. I want to appreciate every one of your time. I want to encourage you, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button below this video and subscribe. And also do me well by sharing this video with somebody that you know will definitely need it. Till I come your way again, bye for now.